a follow-up to that cause and effect discussion then.
Okay.
Everybody, or lots of people in the world, watched what happened in Israel yesterday, the Hamas attack. And then with cause and effect, everybody I speak to largely will want to find an origin of that struggle. They'll be like, it was because of the Zionist movement in the 18th, 19th century, or it was because of early Arab tensions against that Zionist movement, or it was because of, we could say, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and then tensions between the Judeo-Christian world and the Muslim world.
Or you could be like Jordan Peterson and get in a fight with Elon Musk. He said, this is the battle of Cain and Abel. This is a struggle of the original struggle, Cain and Abel. And Elon says, no, you're incorrect. The battle is between extinctionists, people who want to extinguish humanity, and those who want to preserve it.
Humanists and extinctionists.
Yeah,
right?
Thank you. Humanists and extinctionists. So, what's the question?
The question is, how do you even contribute to that discussion?
How do you contribute to a bonfire?
Don't add to it.
You may then want to get in it, right? So one of the things that's very important and very difficult, especially when you're young, it's almost impossible when you're young, is to know what's important and what's not. And this is where the flower ornament, again, is very, very, very valuable, because it shows you the different levels at which these things all occur simultaneously, right? And then it shows you temporally how they're interrelated. Past creates the present, which is actually the past of the future. But the past of the future we're calling the present. But now that's the future of the future, because we're discussing it here and now. And so you can get lost in all of these things. Again, for those who are inclined that way, the Flower Ornament Sutra has specific chapters to make your mind capable of thinking of different time frames simultaneously. That's vital if you're going to understand anything, right? And also in terms of multivariate, causes, and causes becoming effects, and then those effects becoming further causes, and you could do that forever. But reality is beyond forever, right? It's beyond whatever we're considering infinite. And so I think that go back. Is that helpful?
It is helpful, but as a follow-up,
good.
You're a young person in the world today who says, I don't want to see that happen anymore. I would not like to watch these videos.
Excellent. That's a life trajectory. That's great. To be a warrior for peace, wonderful. Good, keep going. I mean, I just want to endorse, hey, you want to be a warrior for peace? We need more of those guys. Go ahead. See, because your generation has grown up in a very, very peculiar time. I grew up with Israel and Palestine and the whole Middle East, always at each other's throats. It was amazing to me that there could actually a period of relative peace there. But that takes some kind of leadership, right? And we have a dearth of that now. Yeah, go ahead. Warrior for peace, go ahead.
So you're a young person who says, I want to be a warrior for peace.
Okay.
But you don't know where to begin because it's a bonfire. So you don't know how to put out a bonfire.
No, that one's straightforward. Mm-hmm. To begin, you refine yourself. You improve yourself. Because you can't see clearly enough to do anything, right? And until you have much more information. And the world is the world is the road to hell is paved with the good intentions of young people and some older people who are more blameworthy, let's say. Blameful, that's not a word. And it's not particularly constructive. And I'm not speaking to anyone in particular, but the way to become a warrior for peace is first to become a warrior, win the first war first. And this is where the Muslims have it perfectly formulated. There's the greater jihad and there's the lesser jihad. The lesser jihad is to go over there and get your legs blown off, fighting for peace in a place that's not interested in peace. So that's the lesser jihad. That's strapping on your suicide vest or whatever craziness that happens to be that epoch. But to get to that lesser jihad, you first have to win the real jihad, which is the battle against the self, against the ego, against the hidden aspects of the ego, which in the old days were called neurosis, right? Or the conditioning that came from your culture, which says, look, you need to look at things this way and only this way. I was raised with absolute ridiculous generalizations about Muslims, which was part of the problem, right? And so to do anything in this world, you need to improve yourself first, because you can't understand it, number one. Number two, you don't know the limits of your own capacity, which is vital in a war, right? And number three, you can't understand the situation, nor what has the possibility of working. So every wisdom tradition that I've ever encountered, they're all uniform on this one. Know yourself. Follow up.
The follow-up to that is for the young person then, who needs to work on themselves. In the meantime, they have to work a job, very likely for a corporation or something, and a lot of them may feel like they're just contributing because I work for somebody who's greedy, but I'm building a ladder for thieves or something like that, potentially. So in the meantime of you working on yourself, how do you not just contribute to the bonfire? Or are you're just not able to?
Okay, well, there's so many different questions in here, and then are we referring to a specific person? Because then it becomes a very different question to me in my mind. But let's take it from there. What was the first part of the question?
Okay, you're a young person, you want to be a warrior for peace. You realize, I got to work on myself because I can't see clearly.
The first order of business is be a warrior.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you got to feed, clothe, shelter yourself and the people you care for.
Yeah, I know it well.
But you can't see clearly, so you kind of just take
another job. Take 3 jobs. I mean, be a warrior. I mean, what's the problem here? I mean, if people, when you said you have to work at a corporation, this is what I mean by having grown up, unfortunately, in the middle of this huge ascent that was basically financed by borrowing money. And so people were handing out jobs even if you didn't contribute anything. People were, because it looked politically correct or something like that. Well, those days are coming to a close, and it looks fairly quickly, as I've been warning. And so it may be, am I lucky? What do I do if I'm not lucky enough to get a corporate job? What if I can't get a job, fixing roofs, because nobody has any money to fix roofs with? So this is why generalists don't go very far, and why the notion is that we need to know concrete things. So keep going.
Okay, so you get a job doing what you can do, whether that's at a corporation or not.
The you part is throwing me miles and miles. I don't know who the you is that you're referring to. Are you referring? So and where? I mean, if you're in India or in Mexico or in a few other parts of the world, things are actually growing, right? And so the answer is very different than if you're here, where things are starting to stall and maybe slow down. And also there's the other element of robotics, right? And AIs taking the white collar jobs. So let's get more specific. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I'll use me leaving college.
All right, if you want to, but it makes it hard. Yeah, but go ahead. No, that's
Will that
good.
make
That's
it
good. No,
hard?
no, that's good.
I
Let's
could use
keep
a
going.
different one.
No, no, whatever. Just let's keep going.
Okay, all right. Leaving college, I'm thinking of working at like as a chemical engineer or becoming a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only two seeming options, really, or going to med school, maybe something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The whole it's incredibly complex what all the far implications are for taking any of those jobs.
Mm-hmm.
What do you follow? Intuition? What do you follow?
What is intuition? First
I
of
guess
all,
interest. Like, I like this thing.
that's not intuition. That's familiarity with something. We like what we know. All right. So now, well, let's go back though. So again, I don't see the issue. You know yourself. Know your strengths. Know your weaknesses. Know your limitations. If you need money, go to work. Wash dishes if you need to. I mean, or if you don't want to wash dishes, prepare yourself to do something that fewer people can do. What are your skills? What are your capacities? What is your knowledge base? How well do you get along with people? So you have to know yourself. The warrior knows himself, right? I mean, at least in this little context right here. So let's go back. What's the question? They all sound good to me. Chemical engineering, medicine. What was the other one?
Or law.
Law. Well, law, they're all, what's the question about these?
Well, now I have a further question based on what you just said. If you
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
identify your skills
Mm-hmm.
and then try to figure out what the world needs and put the two together, what do you do? What do you do when all of your skills you don't think will match up to AI?
Okay, so after knowing yourself, or as you're learning about yourself, you look around you, right? You look up and you say, well, wait a minute, maybe the world doesn't need more lawyers. Maybe the world doesn't need more chemical engineers, right? And then you look for what is needed. It's a concept, right? See, this is what I mean. You grow up in a generation where everything is distorted by vast amounts of money being pumped into the system. And then, of course, the day comes when you have to sober up, right? You have to stand up on your own 2 feet and you realize, whoa, the world's not at all like what I thought it was. You know, they aren't begging me to come to work for them because I have a great degree and, and computer science is like the thing, right? And so all the people who didn't do that and followed the herd, they get slaughtered, right? That's what happens to a flock of sheep. They get they get slaughtered because they're moving as a big clump. So this is, again, why you must know yourself. A warrior must know himself.
You're sitting and thinking, and you're like, I don't know of anything I could do that a machine won't be able to do. Well, some things, but like, I think for a lot of people, no part of their job do they think they could do better than a machine in the next 5 years.
But that's a different question.
That is a different question. Okay.